Good evening and welcome. It's Leon Street here, Wednesday evening. And today in this video, I'm going to be discussing 3 ways to create even more ideas for social media posts, ads, and videos. I've got 3 quick fire ways that you can use in your business right now. And if this is the first time that you have joined me on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to be notified of all the new videos. I put out 2 videos twice a week on a Wednesday and Sunday. And if you're joining me on Facebook, welcome to another live stream with me, Leon Street, the Visionary Marketing Coach. If you have any questions as I'm going out on through this, just please drop them in a comment below this video. So as the title says, 3 ways to create even more ideas for social media posts, ads, and videos. And I guess the main reason for this is speaking to a lot of business owners, coming up with new content ideas and keeping things fresh is probably one of the biggest challenges for a lot of business owners. And I guess most of the time it's either outsourced or the whole content creation process is it's offloaded to somebody else usually, unless you're really into content creation. And the reality is that the better you get at creating content, the better you'll get at attracting more clients into your business. And I guess for a lot of people, it becomes this place where people get stuck. Yeah, they're stuck in cement. And I've got 3 key ways that I'm going to share with you on what you can do to create more content ideas. And you know, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to share with you in these 3 points, it comes from experience and doing this week after week, month after month, year after year. And the better you get at this, the easier content flows. And it's a bit difficult to explain if you're, let's say you're a startup business right now. Most of the people I work with are established, but if you are a startup and you're watching this and you're thinking, how the heck can I come up with even more content ideas? I can only think about 5 to 10. I used to be that way. I used to think, how the heck can I come up with ideas? Now I do live streams like literally twice a week. And the content pretty much, it just appears, yeah. And I don't really have to think too much about it. I already know what my audience are looking for. And I'm going to share a couple of ways that you can do that and to capitalize on your existing knowledge and then some resources that you can use online. Anyway, so let's get into this. Let me share my screen. Let me jump over to PowerPoint. Right, so before I go any further, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel. There are videos on there that I've got, I don't know, probably at least about 70 videos. So check it out. There's a lot of great content on the channel. So look for me on YouTube, Leon Street. But let's get into what I'm talking about today. One of the biggest pains for business owners is being able to come up with new ideas for posts, Facebook, YouTube, video content ideas, without coming across repetitive or boring. And a lot of the times, this is one of the biggest fears of business owners out there. It's like, how can I keep coming up with content ideas? And, you know, I don't want to keep doing, you know, let's say videos or social media posts because I'm busy serving my clients or I'm busy, whatever. Well, if you have the budget and you can run ads, you're still going to have to come up with new ad ideas. Or at the very least, if you've got a team, a marketing team around you, perhaps you've got, say you've got a copywriter in your team, which is a good one, a good role to have in your business. And if you do have a copywriter, one of the big advantages that you have is that if they work with, let's say, your social media consultant, if you've got one in your team, or social media manager, whatever, the ideas can flow. But a lot of the time, you as the business owner, you're probably going to set the, I guess, the theme to what marketing you're going to put out. And your copywriter and your social media manager or whatever are usually going to be an extension of your creativity, your ideas, your knowledge. You know, the bigger your business that you have, the more that you'll be able to delegate and leave to your marketing team. So your copywriter might just take a free hold on what needs to be done because they've got an idea of what you usually talk about, and that way they can create. But for a lot of people, this is going to be an area where business owners get stuck. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to increase your content ideas for 12 months of the year. So here are the 3 ways. So this is number 1. And this is pretty obvious, but I'm going to share this one. I'm going to give you a bonus one with this as well. So on Facebook, you've probably got competitors who are advertising already. And if you run ads, or whether you do or you don't, there's a nice little tool that you can use to check out your competitors' ads. It's very easy to access, and so easy that, you know, your 8-year-old child could do it. I'm just joking with you, but probably. Thanks for jumping on, Tristan. Good evening to you as well. So the first thing that I want to share with you is, how do you get access to your competitors? Well, I've got something loaded up on my screen, so let me just switch screens for a moment. I'm just gonna grab something that I've got prepared in the background for you, so just give me a moment. And where are we? Here we are. So I'm just going to jump onto this, and here we are. You should be seeing my screen right now, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see, guys. So I've gone onto my Facebook page. You can see it loaded live, and I've done a search for an example of a competitor. So Russell Brunson is pretty big in the marketing scene. He's released a number of books, very famous guy. He runs a company called ClickFunnels. So most business owners who are into marketing, that kind of stuff, probably know him. But if you go to anybody who is your competitor who's running ads right now, just search for them in the Facebook search box like you see on the top left, and search for pages. And when you get to the page, click on the page, and as you scroll down, you'll see there's a box there that says page transparency. And on that page, just simply click on see all, and it will load up the page transparency information. And all you do is scroll down, and there'll be a section there that says ads from this page, and you click on go to ad library, and it's that simple. And once you click there, it will take you to all of the ads that that page, i.e. that company, is currently running. So you can see here, these are all the ads that Russell Brunson is running in the UK. I can switch the filter so it shows all of the ads that he's running, which is 550 across the world. So these are all the ads. And what I can do, I can scroll down, I can see the images that he's using. If I click on see ad details, I can see the specific ad copy that's being used. I can click on the link to see where the ad is going to. So not only can I see the ads, or can you see the ads, but actually what you're able to do is see the imagery, the videos, the media, and all of this stuff will give you great ideas of content to create new social media posts, ads, or just video content, right? So this is free to get access to. You just literally go onto Facebook, and if you're watching this on Facebook, you know, you're using the platform. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know, you can jump onto Facebook and do this. So it's a great place to start. That gets you started with creating content, because you'll see what your competition are putting out in the market. And what I'm saying here is not to copy, right, but to understand and also see what's being put out by your competitors and what the market is already responding to. And when you click on those ads, you'll be able to go into those ads. You'll see people's comments, you'll see the interactions. What that will do, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. What that will do is give you an idea of what the market is responding to. Yeah, so if you, let's say you've got 5 competitors that you know are advertising, marketing, and you just want to find out a bit more, you know, and just dig into what they're doing on the front end. By going into page transparency and seeing their ads, you're going to get the first steps into understanding what's being put out into the market. So you'll have an idea of the type of ads, type of copy, type of videos. And that way, that will start to give you like a library of what your market is already seeing. And this is a really good thing, because I'm not saying here copy. What I'm saying is get ideas from what your competitors are putting out there. But here's the next level on top of that. Once you've got ideas, what you also need to be aware of is, well, if that's what my competitors are putting out into the market, whether it's a local campaign you want to run, regional, national, or international, you'll also have an understanding of what is the market already seeing. Perhaps if you were to copy them, perhaps the market would already be tired of that type of copy. So by looking at your competitors, it might give you ideas to come up with even new stuff and be innovative and not the same, because there's a problem that happens when you are running ads like on Facebook called ad fatigue. And ad fatigue happens when somebody sees your ad over and over. But imagine if you've got your ad, but you've simply copied somebody else's ads, you're really going to set yourself up for failure. So what I'm saying here is go to your competitors, check out the ads for ideas, but also look to add your creativity and innovation to it. But it's a great place to start if you've never done that before. And, it's a great place to, I guess, just steal ideas and take those ideas, recycle them and turn them into you. Yeah. So that's number one. So if this is not making sense, guys, just let me know as well. Hopefully it is making sense. If you've got any questions, drop them in a comment below this. I will come back to the comments on YouTube and on Facebook, so please drop them there. Right, so let me get back to my presentation. So let me just remove this, and I'm going to stop that screen, and let me get back to sharing PowerPoint. So here we are. So that one was check out the competition Facebook. You also have, I said I was going to give you a bonus tip with this one. You also have something similar on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, if you are, actively marketing on LinkedIn and you want to find out what your competitors are up to, if you check out the pages of the advertisers on LinkedIn, there's usually a tab that says ads. And on there, it gives you pretty much a similar access to what Facebook does, where you can access what ads your competitors are putting out on LinkedIn. So two great places, and go use them. So let's move forward, guys. So step number 2 of 3 ways to create more content ideas is create a content plan. This one it's the obvious one, I'd say. Instead of being an ad hoc plan, which most business owners are, they'll probably hire a social media consultant. And this is based on what I've seen and experienced, what I see of people. They'll spend like $200 a month, £200 a month, and just outsource it to somebody else and say, yeah, create me some social media. And that person ends up creating, mediocre content. And I'm going to tell you what in step 3 of this video. But anyway, the first thing that I want to get to in create a content plan is you start looking at the year. Yeah, and rather than being ad hoc, you become more strategic. So you work on monthly campaign themes. So what you'll do is you'll split your year into 12 months. So you've got 12 sections, right, that you can put on a sheet of paper or a spreadsheet or a Google Doc. And you can look at, well, what does that month represent? Is there like a seasonal theme, topical theme, or an offer-based theme for that particular month? And you can use seasonal trends and topical trends, or just things going on in the news, in society, because that will help to keep whatever it is that you're putting out as content relevant as well. And being relevant to your audience is important, because your audience, if they are triggered by seasonal or topical trends or just things going on, you'll at least be top of mind for them, because you'll be matching what they're looking for. There's this thing when you get into personal development called your RAS, your reticular activating system. And it's the thing that when you say, think of a pink elephant, your brain automatically starts thinking of a pink elephant, even if they, don't exist. And so by being top of mind, it's a really important thing to do when it comes to marketing and creating content. Another one is break your content into 12 themes, as I said, and then split those themes into 4 categories. So it's almost like have January and split January into 4 categories. And what are you doing there? You're starting to break it down into weeks for each month. And then for those days, you can then start to get specific around what content you want to put out on those days. So start with creating a content plan. I've got a basic one here that I've got in this table just to kind of get you started. So on the left, you've got months starting with January. The theme might be, for instance, in January, a lot of people speak about, New Year's resolutions, new goals, that type of stuff. And then what you can start thinking about is you might have a theme, but what is the offer? So you're going to create great content, but it's also good to know that your content directly links to the type of offers that you're going to be putting out there, because that's something that, people get into creating content. I've seen it many times where they create content and they have no call to action. They don't think about, well, what's the thing that we're going to sell here eventually? And I'm not saying for you to be sales driven or just the majority of what your message is about sales. No, but you've got to have a clear call to action about what offer you will be putting out for that month, so that you do generate clients and sales. So when it comes to content, what I'd say is you can use the basic principle of Gary Vee with his popular book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. So it means, put it 3 times as much content and value out before you ask for the call to action. And that's a great rule to work by, because that way you'll be putting out a good amount of value in proportion to the amount of offers that you put out there. So it's a real good approach to use when it comes to content. So just going down, you can see February, you might use things around Valentine's. How could you use Valentine's in a business? Well, you could, have like a show love campaign. Doesn't mean that you've got to be romantically showing love. It could just be, here's my appreciation and gratitude and love towards my audience. I'm giving lots of like lead magnets, webinars, that type of stuff. March could be new beginnings, like spring, theme. April, if you're like in the Western world, Easter's a big thing. Around April, again, it could just be creation, new things. May, it could be get a head start on summer. Might be activities that lead people up to summer. If you're in the travel industry, next May is going to be next year is going to be a big thing, hopefully, as social lockdown eases. And then June, summer starts, blah, blah, blah. So you can create themes. Those themes may not be relevant. The seasonal themes might not be relevant to your industry. So what you've got to do is just look at what themes are relevant to your industry for given months. Yeah, I'm just giving you those examples there just to get you thinking. But remember, once you've got your theme, also understand what offer or offers will you be putting out in those months as well. So don't get caught up in just creating content. Know what you're going to be selling in advance, because you run a business after all, not a charity, right? Cool. So Tristan saying, highly agree on having a strategic plan. Getting help on production removes the overwhelm and frees you up to do what earns. Yeah, I agree with you, Tristan. If you can get help on the production side of things, fantastic. But the strategy has got to come from the business owner. And I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, and I'm going to speak for the majority of business owners that I've worked with, who are usually up to 5 employees. And usually the business owner is, in many respects, is the creative force, driving force of the vision. And when you start abdicating or giving away that responsibility, especially before you've hit £1 million or $1 million in revenue, i.e. turnover, you're giving away the power too early, because actually you're going to be that driving energy to infuse what it is that you see as what your audience needs. And when you start giving it away to your employees too soon, especially if they've not been with you that long, or they don't really understand, I guess, to the degree of putting together the right strategy, they'll always come up with okay or average marketing messages that will come from an average strategy. So this is what I'm speaking directly to. If you're a marketing manager or you're actually the business owner, this step is critical, because once you've got this nailed, then you can get other people involved, like Tristan's talking about, to help with production and various other things. But I see this so many times where somebody offers this great, buy this £500, we'll create all your content for you. You're going to end up with some real average content, guys, if you go down that road without having the strategy first. And step 3, we're going to turn it up a notch. Shaquille, great strategies. Thanks for jumping on, Shaquille. So this one, very easy, but so often missed. And this is the biggest one. And I just said in step 2, this is where we turn it up a notch. And this is where I see so many business owners fall short. And this is where they fall short of thinking they know what to put out, but they don't really consider what it is they need to have for their audience. So let me explain. Logic and emotion. The best way to attract more leads and create demand is to market to both sides of your audience. So what do I mean by that? We buy on emotion and justify with logic. Emotion and logic. You know what that is? It's a reflection of the human brain, the creative side and the logic side, right? Yeah. So the creative side is where all the emotion happens, and the logic side, is where people think and justify about, what's going to take place, rather than being driven by the emotions. So start planning content that fits into both ways that your audience receive information as a human being. So if you start looking at what I've just said there, I'm hoping that this one hasn't just gone over your head, because this is the biggie. If you're selling to a human being, whether it's B2B or B2C, they're going to be filled with both logic and emotion. And what I see so often is the majority of business owners sell based on logic, i.e. you can buy a website for £1,000. That's logic. There's no emotion in that. You're giving them a factual number, buy a website. Or you can buy a plumbing service for, I don't know, say £50 an hour to repair your boiler or your pipes, whatever. Yeah, logic. You're just giving people a price, you're giving them a service. And the trouble with that is, I've just given you a statement there. We buy on emotion and justify it with logic. Yeah. So if you want to achieve okay or average results, keep on selling based on logical marketing content ideas. Yeah. If you want to go to the next level, you got to start thinking of, well, what's the emotion that that person is going through with the problem that I'm going to help them solve. Yeah, this is where we turn it up a notch, and I'm hoping you guys are catching this part. Christina just saying brilliant. I normally do one or the other. Perfect. If you do one or the other, that's a great place to start, because what I'm about to show you is how you do one or the other. But I'm just going to give you a few insights as I go along. So now you should be seeing on the screen a little table that I've prepared for you. It's like Blue Peter prepared in advance. Anyway, so on the left, we have logic, and on the right, I have emotion. And what I'm sharing with you in this table is a very simple point that I want to get across to you. So on the left are 4 content ideas, and on the right are also 4 more content ideas. So this table is actually showing you 8 content ideas. Yeah. And so we're getting 2 content ideas from really one theme. So let me start from the left, and hopefully everybody is picking this up. If this is making sense, guys, give me a thumbs up on Facebook or on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. You can give me a heart if you're feeling like you want to share some love. I do appreciate you guys. Just want to know that everybody's following this along. Just before I go into them, let me just check the comments. People forget to upsell their selling skills, thinking the technology is going to do everything for them. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to come to that as a bonus one afterwards, Shaquille, just to kind of elaborate on what you're talking about there, because I think that one people will miss. Thanks, everybody, giving me the hearts and the love. I appreciate you. So let me explain what's going on in the table then. So on the left, you've got logic, and I'm using some examples so you can follow it. So I could create, as an example, a video or a social media post on how to grow your business. Yeah. So that would be one content idea. That would be a logical idea, because it would be pretty simple, you know, create a marketing strategy, understand your niche, understand your target audience, understand what offers to put in front of them, create an irresistible offer, create an irresistible marketing message, you know, attract more leads, close them, blah, blah, blah. That's logical. But I could then, if I dug deeper by understanding my audience and their psychographic information, what's going on with them psychologically, i.e., what pains, what passions, what desires do they have, I could create another content piece on the same topic of business growth. But now I would look at a topic that would be, I don't want my business to fail, because that's why people want their business to grow. But emotionally, what's going on with them is that they don't want their business to fail. Are you guys following this? How are you doing, Adam? Thanks for jumping on. So another example would be on the left. If you were a plumber, let's say, or a heating engineer, you could create a social media post or a video on, you know, how to fix your boiler. Yeah. But then they could also create another social media post or video on, you know, what happens when your boiler doesn't work and your family are cold. You know, what can you do to get through the night to make sure that they're taken care of? Yeah. And I guarantee you there's not going to be many boiler technicians or companies out there who've created videos to explain what happens if your boiler does go off and different things you can do to keep your family warm or to get hot water or whatever it is, right? Because that's the emotional side. Because if somebody's boiler has stopped working, the family, or the let's say the parents, at least the husband or the wife or the, you know, the woman, even if you're, you know, a single, you know, a person on your own, you haven't got a family. When you create videos around what's going on because of the problem, this is another content idea. And this is what I'm saying to you. You can't just abdicate the responsibility just to a social media company or somebody who's saying, we can do your social media for £200 and create all these great ideas. Because I guarantee you, they're not going to dig into these things. They're not going to dig into, let's understand your niche, what's going on with the demographics and the psychographics, the psychology. And so if you look at this, guys, what I'm sharing with you, I've just shared 4 ideas. That's 4 ideas of content. Imagine your target audience now. What's going on with your audience logically, and what's going on with them emotionally. Yeah. And believe me, if you use step 2, create your content plan, map out 12 months of the year, break it down into 4 categories, and then you start looking at what's the logic and emotion around that theme, around the problems, around the passions, the desires of what your audience want. You're going to have content coming out your nose, your ears, everywhere. Yeah. And this is where you cannot not come up with content. So I'm going to finish off the final 2, and then I'm going to add a couple of bits for Shaquille with his comment. So another example would be in the 3rd row down. I want to get some help to be happier. So imagine you're a life coach. Well, you could create some content around 3 steps to become happier. And then you could create another piece of content or a video on what happens when people are depressed and what to do to get help. Yeah, so that's another piece of content, but that one's more emotional. And then the final one, let's say you were a marketing agency, a web designer, that kind of thing. You know, most people you're going to sell to are going to say, I need a website. Yeah. And then you could create a content around why people need a website, you know, important steps to consider. And then the emotional piece of content that you could perhaps create a video, you know, blog, is why people need a website, i.e. you don't want your competitors to beat you, to leave you behind, and you end up broke and blah, blah, blah. That's the emotional side. So those are some examples of logic and emotion, guys. And when you wrap that into your content plan for 12 months of the year, that's what allows you to go to the next level. So content. I can't emphasize enough. I'm just going to get rid of my presentation for a moment, but I can't emphasize enough that if you map out and plan your content. So what I do, I have a Google Sheet, and I have all of my logical ideas around the problems that my audience have. And I have also the emotional ideas around the desires and the problems my audience have. And I have headlines for each one. I create a headline, and usually I start with how to. That's how I start. Like even today's video that you see right now, that was based on an idea that I had 2 weeks ago. So what you're seeing now was 2 weeks ago created. And then what I do next to each headline that I create, based on whether it's a logical piece of content or an emotional one, it can be combined as well, guys. So you can mix and match as well. So that works really well. So what I do is I create 3 benefits of what I'm going to put into the training, or 3 learning points, right? And that's what gives me content to create. And then I can choose whether I want to write, i.e. create a social media post as text and an image, or if I want to create a Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or just a pre-recorded video. That's what gets me ahead, guys. And that's what can get you ahead. And the more you do it, the faster you get, the better you get, and the more creative you get, actually. Because what will happen, if you think about everybody who's watched this today so far, there's been quite a lot of comments, and I'm going to come to the final one, what Shaquille's mentioned here is, what happens is you start to understand what triggers your audience. And I'm not saying you do it to manipulate. No, you do it because people are genuinely engaged with the content. They can see, I can see an idea that I can use. And that's what you want. You want people to be able to take your content and say, I can see what's possible. Yeah. But I'm not saying give all of your crown jewels away. Don't give everything away. Yeah. And well, how do you find the balance? Well, I'll probably do that on a different video on how you find the balance without giving too much away. Yeah. So the final point I want to get into is what Shaquille spoke about. He says people forget to upsell their selling skills, or upscale their selling skills, thinking technology is going to do everything for them. Right. So that's a great point, because what I showed you in step 2 was have a theme, but also know what your offer is going to be that you connect to that theme. So I guess this is going to be the final thing that I share with you, and this is ad hoc. So I'm just throwing this one in. And if you're watching the screen right now, remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already. I don't know, I've got something like 75 plus videos already on the channel. There's a lot of great content for free on my YouTube channel, you know, and they're all in playlists. So once you play one video, it'll recommend the next one. So you have a lot of great content ideas if you're a business owner on how to grow your business and how to deal with challenges emotionally as a business owner. There you go. See, I use my own stuff, guys. But anyway, the final point that I want to talk about with Shaquille. So once you've created your content ideas, what I would say to you is, even if you have a company helping you to develop the content, yeah, you must review that stuff, you know, at least on a weekly or monthly basis. Monthly at the very minimum, but yeah, you should be seeing what's going out. Why? Because you need to make sure that you have a hold on the content you're putting out, because that content has a direct connection with what you will sell. Because remember, the content is to drive people to your offers, whether it's lead magnets or whether you have something to buy, or whether people are going to book in a strategy or a discovery call with you, right? Because that's what it's all about. You're running a business so you can get leads, you can get prospects, and you can get sales. So what happens is people, business owners, not you guys who are watching, because you guys are obviously up to speed now, you can see what's going on. But what happens is when people get into, I've created a whole bunch of content, or I know what content to create, or I've outsourced it to somebody and delegated it to somebody else, what happens is people get caught up in the automation thing, whereby they think, oh, I've got it all, publishing on Hootsuite or whatever social media automation tool you're using. And what happens is they think that's the end of the story. No, the big thing that you've got to do is when you publish content, there is a big piece on the follow-up, and that's where most people fall short. And why do they fall short? Because they think that just simply putting content out there is going to get you clients, and clients are just going to come pouring or just falling off the money tree. And it doesn't happen that way. I actually have a great guide that I give away for free. It's called the Gorilla Method. And it's a method that I use, which is basically an unconventional way to create great social media content, but how to follow up on that content to turn, I guess, people who like your content and comment into people who want to have a conversation with you, so you can help them with whatever product or service you have to offer. If you guys want that guide, by the way, it's a free guide. It's about 10 pages plus. It's a PDF. Just drop me a message, because I haven't got the link to hand, but I can send you the link. If you just drop me a message or drop a comment below this video, and I'll make sure you get the link for that. It's a free guide. But the point is, content is one step in the chain. Follow-up is the next step. So if you are publishing content and now you've got more content ideas, you're like, well, I've got people liking my stuff and commenting. What do I do next? You follow up. And so what Shaquille was talking about is people need to upscale their selling skills. But here's the thing. It's not that you're just going to be a sleazy person who's just pushing to get a sale. No, you follow up to have a conversation. That's the key part. The conversation comes before the sale. Why? Because you've got to ask questions. You've got to know whether that person wants to buy from you or not. Don't just be a douchebag and say, here's my product, buy, here's the link, or come to my event, buy tickets. You know what? I get so many people who send me that kind of crap by messages on Facebook and LinkedIn that does my head in. And I'm like, these people really don't understand how to market. Marketing is simply having a relationship via conversation. Sometimes it's done by your message. Sometimes it's done by a webinar, lead magnets, various different things. But if you get it right, people will slide into your DMs. And when they slide into your DMs, don't be a douchebag. Have a conversation. If it seems right, then move them to the next stage where you can get them on a phone call or push them to a checkout page if you've got something to sell. And that's it, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. I've seen a few more people on tonight. I've gone a bit longer than I said I would to my fiance, so I'll be coming off very soon. But remember, I'll be back on Sunday morning. Sunday mornings, I talk more around the kind of emotional and I guess the challenges of what it takes to be a business owner. But every Wednesday, sales and marketing. Once again, I just want to say I appreciate you guys watching right now. Means a lot to me. This is what I do. This is my purpose. And I'll be back next Wednesday with more great content for you. So take care, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.